Nari McDiarmid with you here at MiningNews Select in Sydney, and we're joined by James Morrison, Portfolio Manager with Regal's Royalties Fund. And James, in this space we've seen some developments recently with BHP's deal with Wheaton Precious Metals and the Minerals 260 transaction. Do you think royalty and streaming arrangements will become more mainstream in the financing arm?
It's a very good question, and yes, I do. I think that whilst in North America, royalties and streams are considered for every single financing. Essentially, if you're a CFO of a mining company in North America, you don't consider a royalty or a stream, you'll probably get fired. In Australia, there's always been a reluctance because the equity markets have been so supportive. But because investors are really must consider the dilution which occurs from issuing additional equity, if they can have a replacement for that, which doesn't impinge their ability to borrow funds to further fund the capex for their projects, I think they should consider it. I think the example of Minerals 260 is that a very established and very, I'd say, famous mining investor, Tim Goyder, was persuaded that that was a very good strategy for him to prevent dilution. The cost of capital in that transaction was low, which meant that the company has a significant advantage. And for further evidence of how that transaction was received, take a look at the appreciation in the share price after the deal was announced. And then from the other side, that was Franco-Nevada's first transaction in Australia in 10 years. And I think I think that's a bit of a watershed to convince people who really had been very comfortable with the equity and debt markets that they should use such a structure to fund their project. In the case of BHP and Wheaton Precious Metals, BHP obviously is has ability to access capital from so many sources. They generate a huge amount of returns on their existing projects, and it's reinvestment. Where they're going to reinvest. For them to sell a stream over Antamina, the byproducts, the silver over the Antamina project, their share of Antamina, and receive $4.3 billion up front, just shows you that this is a mainstream financing technique. So a silver stream over that project sold to Wheaton Precious Metals. And Wheaton already has an interest over that mine as well. So they know that project very well. Now, everyone is curious about what return Wheaton got, and at a $75 silver price was probably a 0% IRR. But they've taken another view. They said, we know that project well. And I think when we see BHP using this technique, you must consider it to be a mainstream financing technique.
To a slightly different topic, James, and you've just referred to the $75 silver price in that deal. Where do you think we're placed in terms of the long-term commodity cycle?
Thank you. Yes, look, I think it's really important when you're as an investor to think about where you are in the cycle. And if you look back over the last 100 years or so, the cycles are typically about 30 years long, 16 years on up and 14 years down. And so those long cycles really hurt when you get stuck in them. By my estimate and the estimate of the people I'm following, this cycle the uptick probably happened around 2020. So we're 6 years in to potentially on average, a 16-year bull market cycle as a part of those overall commodity price cycles. So I think we're less than halfway into the bull part of this cycle.
Exciting times. James, thank you so much for your time.
Most welcome. Thank you.